Dear viewer, good evening. With me tonight, the president of Lawrence Tech University, Mr. Tarek Sobh. Mr. Sobh, welcome to MEA.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. Mr. Sobh, tell me about you. Let's talk about you, and then we'll talk about Lawrence Tech University. When did you came to the United States? And
Sure. This is a 3-hour interview, right?
we could make it all in 20 minutes.
Well, I moved to the U.S. from Egypt
Yes.
In 1988. I came here for grad school. So I studied at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia.
Yes.
After finishing my undergraduate degree in engineering from Alexandria University in Egypt, I studied at the University of Pennsylvania for my master's and my PhD. And I graduated actually 3.5 years later, at the end of 1991, with both degrees, master's and PhD.
Great.
In computer science and engineering, with a specialization in robotics and automation. And
Impressive.
well, it was a wonderful experience, great school. At that time, actually, the University of Pennsylvania was home to the #1 robotics laboratory in the world, actually. And it was a fantastic experience. And again, we're talking 1988, when robotics and artificial intelligence was just incipient. It was very exotic at that time.
That's
it was,
right.
So it was exciting times. And graduated from Penn in 1991, and then joined the University of Utah in Salt Lake City as an assistant professor of computer science, continuing my work in robotics and automation and so on and so forth. And we stayed in Utah for about 3.5 years.
The home of Senator, what's his name, Romney.
Yeah,
Yes.
and basically at that point in time, we, meaning me and my wife, at the end of that period in Salt Lake City, we were contemplating moving back to the East Coast. We had just had our first child, and of course we had a great time in Salt Lake City, but we were looking for a community that's a little bit more diverse, and the East Coast is that, obviously.
Absolutely.
In addition to, of course,
York,
great state like
Boston,
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
And I got called by the University of Bridgeport in Bridgeport, Connecticut, recruiting me for a faculty position, and also to start their activities within the areas of robotics, automation, and interfacing with industry and such. So we decided to move back east, and we moved to Connecticut in 1995. Stayed at the University of Bridgeport for approximately 25 years in Connecticut, beginning as an associate professor, built a robotics and automation and sensing laboratory, started doing great work with industry and funded research and other areas. Then I started being an administrator, an academic administrator on top of that. So I moved up in the ranks during my tenure with Bridgeport. I became a department chair, then the dean of engineering. As a matter of fact, at some point, I was the longest serving dean of engineering in the country. It's not a good thing, by the way, but it happened. I served as engineering dean for about 20 years. During my tenure there. And then near the end of my career at Bridgeport, I was named as the university vice president, and then the senior vice president, and then I was the university executive vice president. At the end of that time, family situation changed, kids grew a little bit older, and geography did not matter as much, and I was starting to think about moving to a position like a provost or a president in a very technologically focused, comprehensive.
Which is your field.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a roboticist by training, and I did a lot of work in science, technology, engineering, and math, both from a research point of view, teaching point of view, and community service and engagement with industry and school districts within STEM for many, many years. So I started contemplating moving to one of these type of positions in a technologically focused institution of higher learning.
Yes.
And
So how you came to?
well, it's kind of an interesting story. So, you know, being an engineer and, you know, and a scientist, I like to do things in a very, you know, concise, comprehensive, and, you know, very systematic way. So I started thinking, well, there are 6,000 universities, you know, in the country.
Yes.
And I started thinking, since I want to move to a technological university, I should focus my search on technological universities that are comprehensive. And despite the fact that I had been in higher education for, you know, many, many years, I did think that that number of technological universities would be maybe 200-300, given that there are 6,000, right?
Yeah.
And I was stunned, you know, at the end of my very precise search, it turned out there is only 56 universities.
Out of 6,000?
Yeah, less than 1%, you know, that are technologically focused by mission, vision, and name, right?
Yes.
And I also wanted to work in a comprehensive university, meaning I wanted that university to be a university that's home to most of the majors, whether it's business or health sciences or engineering,
Yes.
but for within the major,
Of technology.
everything would be technologically focused, and the students would be able to cope with these type of careers in their discipline, and also wanted to have good facilities, meaning they would be comprehensive and all the way to doctoral, right? Bachelor's, master's, and doctoral. And interestingly, only half of these 56 fit that bill, you know, meaning they were both technological and comprehensive. And I was not really built to work in, you know, in public universities or public anything, to be very honest. I like to move fast, and I like to be agile and nimble in programming, especially with the amazing pace of change in industry and so on. So out of these 28, there were only 13 universities in the whole country that are technological, comprehensive, and private. And to be very honest, I started giving up because it's a very small number of universities.
Yes.
And I'm really looking at the president
out of 13.
and again, I'm looking at the presidency or a provost position, meaning 26 possibilities really in the whole country. And usually academicians and administrators at that level stay for a very long time in their position.
Yes.
So there was nothing open, basically. And again, these 13 universities are very elite. I mean, we're talking Lawrence Technological University, RPI in New York, MIT, of course, California Institute of Technology,
Yes.
Worcester and, you know, Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts. Very small set of amazingly elite universities. But then, as they say, karma happened, and I got a call from the Lawrence Technological University recruiter saying that the provost position is open, and you know, would like you to consider, you know, that position. And I was actually very, very happy because I knew Lawrence Tech, of course.
That's what you want. Yeah.
And I knew the university itself
Yes.
as a long-serving dean and vice president. And I knew the amazing progress that happened at Lawrence Tech in the last 20 years, you know,
Yes.
being now what it is, a truly eminent leader in STEM education and technological education. So I was very happy, and I was very blessed to be chosen for the provost position, you know, 1.5 years ago. And again, Lawrence Tech is a very, very special place. Not only is it one of these 13 elite institutions, but we have amazing differentiators and characteristics that are unique to us. We have very small class sizes. No class in any major at any level in any discipline is more than 25 students. Intimate relationship between industry and our students from day one.
Nice.
Highest income per graduate within the Metro Detroit area and amongst all private schools in the state. A truly amazing, amazing
Doctor,
institution.
how many Arab American president of university out of those 6,000 and of those of 52?
Well, actually, interestingly, within the U.S., I'm actually the first Arab American to be a university president.
Of those 6,000.
Yeah, and
So you are the first Arab American president of very prestige University?
I'm very blessed. LTU is a great place, and actually I'm also the first, by definition, Egyptian American to be a president within the U.S. And it's kind of really good for the community
Absolutely.
and for amazing Arab colleagues across the country who, and there are thousands of wonderful professors and chairs and deans and vice presidents. And I think this precedent is very encouraging for the community across the whole country. At this point, for example, we are searching for a provost to replace me because I left the provost position and I became a president starting this last January. And I was incredibly pleased when I took a look at the couple of hundred or so applications that we have received for that very prestigious position. And I saw a very significant percentage of the applicants to be of Arab origins. And
what's the percentage?
Close to 20%.
Wow, that's good.
Amazing professionals, and many of them did give me a call, and they actually said, we were applying because we know that probably there is no ceiling anymore, and we could be applying for positions at that level.
Out of that 20%, how many from Michigan? Do you have that?
I don't have it ready, meaning I do not know how many deans and or vice presidents from Michigan who have applied. I don't think we actually have that many, if any. Well, we have a few actually, deans, couple maybe, in Michigan who are from Arab origin. I don't know about vice presidents. I don't think, as far as I know, there is any in Michigan, a university vice president.
How about the students?
In terms of our population of students, we do have both.
Arab American.
We both have, whether domestically or internationally, a few hundred students who are either undergraduate students or graduate students.
But mostly internationally.
I think it's a balance. It's a balance. So we have, several students who came to us internationally from the Middle East, and that has been a tradition in LTU's history. LTU is a very global university. At any given point in time, you would find probably between 70 to 90 nationalities represented on campus. We are a very, very global university. But of course, when you count the domestic, second generation Arab Americans, we have a good number, but would like to increase that number, and would like to increase that significance, so within the community.
MEA broadcasts in every state in the nation, and we have a good percentage of the Arab American, Middle Eastern American watch us, and I know very well there is a lot of students in some state. There is no Arab American, or the community is very small.
Sure.
And those people, honestly, when they come to US, they still miss the culture, they still miss the food, and they want to go in somewhere that there is the culture.
Absolutely.
And there is, and Michigan, honestly, is the hub. Michigan, and especially Lawrence Tech University, 10 minutes from all the culture. There is thousands, hundreds of restaurants, hundreds of Arabic stores.
Sure.
And this is, honestly, psychologically, make the person comfortable.
Absolutely.
That he knows there is people around him speaking his language and all that.
Sure.
And he could go and social with them. So what kind of campaign you doing to attract those students who they are in different, for example, Utah, Nashville, those people, they would love to go to a place where is as I mentioned, the culture and all that.
You're right on the mark. I mean, in our case, in the case of Lawrence Tech, in terms of student outcomes, in terms of, for example, things like salaries upon graduation, we are the #1 in Metro Detroit area. We are probably #1 within all the private schools and universities in Michigan.
Well, technology is the future.
And we do really a great job. I always joke, with my colleagues and friends, in this time and age, many students go to universities and they graduate and they cannot even make a living wage, right? And they go live in the basements of their families for a couple of years before they find a job for $30-something thousand. And I think people are starting, or has been going on for a while, the value proposition of higher education.
Yes.
The future is what we do in Lawrence Tech. The future is technological education. That's
the most demand.
Very dispersed.
Yes.
The future is interdisciplinary education. Think about it. 10, 15 years ago, there was no job title called autonomous car engineer or social media marketer or virtual reality designer or nanotechnologist.
They are the most demand now.
And these jobs didn't even exist. And who knows, you know,
Yes.
10 years from now, there will be 100 other jobs that don't have a title yet. But when you take a look at these jobs, they typically share two characteristics. One of them is that they are very technology based, whether it's in healthcare or engineering or sciences or business and analytics and cloud computing and AI applications and so on. The second is they are very interdisciplinary. You need to know several fields and you need to be broadly educated in several areas in order to be productive within this new economy and this
Yes.
future. And Lawrence Tech is amazing at that.
What do you
and that's the reason. And I think within the Arab community in general, whether here in Michigan or whether, you know, in other states,
There's about 7 million nationwide.
number one, the Arab community actually, from what I've known and seen, having lived in the U.S. for, you know, 30, 40 years or so now,
Yes.
is actually a community that truly appreciates STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Absolutely.
And that's a driver that would hopefully enable this community to focus on these type of universities, including Lawrence Tech,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's a community that values higher education in general, and I know that from my own cultural background and
Yes.
my colleagues that I've encountered in
But
the
again,
U.S.
doctor, most family came here for better future for their children.
Absolutely.
And they working hard and all that to see their children going to school
Sure.
and being, you know, having a good job and all
Sure.
that. And Lawrence Technology, you know, had this.
We do
How could a person, a student, probably go to Florida, for example, although there's about 200,000 community in
Sure, sure.
Florida, and a lot of them watch us, and he want to come to Michigan, especially first year.
First of all,
What he should do?
Well, first of all, I think we should spread the word out more. I mean, that's for sure. I think we should spread the word out not only locally and regionally, but nationally and internationally
Exactly.
more. And we've started to do that using, you know, typical venues on the social media, and we're going to ramp up our activities in this area. Second, we have an amazing scholarship structure at LTU.
Oh.
We do. LTU, of course, is a private university, and I know within the minds of many members of the great Arab community we have here and in the U.S., the prevailing thinking is that public universities in general, you know, are cheaper, right, and so on. That's absolutely not the case. I mean, in a place like Lawrence Tech, you know, students who want to go into these kind of majors, STEM majors and technologically focused majors, who do well in high schools, and we have really good programs to help them even do that because we engage with many high schools.
How much it costs more than going to public? than
I'll
private?
tell you the numbers. I mean, at the end of the day, with the appropriate set of scholarships that we are very generously offering to good students, the net tuition and revenue that would be asked of a student will be probably within the $12,000 to $18,000 range. Despite the fact, with a good scholarship, despite the fact that the sticker price, right, is probably 30 or 30 something thousand.
Yes.
And when you really try to compare that number, you know, this 12
And
to
compare
18,
public to private,
and you
that's
compare
a
it to a
huge-
public school, if you compare it after the scholarship, the differential might be $3,000 or $4,000.
Wow.
If you compare it with the sticker price without the scholarship that we
Yes,
offer, the differential per year might be even 20, right? And that's very prohibitive.
Sure.
And I think we're not spreading the word out appropriately
Let's
about
talk
these
more
great
about
scholarships.
Let's go talk more about this. You know, for example, as I mentioned, a student in Florida and he wanna come to he study the
Sure.
Lawrence Tech University and see this university is what fit him and what he want. Plus, there is a culture there.
Of course,
That
of course.
What he should do.
He should apply. And,
Apply,
and basically, again, you know what, number one, as I mentioned, we're very flexible and nimble and so on and so forth.
Nice.
And we are all in trying to really attract, you know, more students and also have a great impact. As an example, because people across the country now are waking up to this whole value proposition
Yes.
and want their kids to graduate and actually have a great job with a living wage. We have actually had the largest incoming freshman class in a generation at LTU this past fall, in the midst of the pandemic. As a matter of fact, we were the only private university in the state of Michigan and probably amongst all the publics that have seen an enrollment surge during the last 2 years. Because people are looking now very closely at the
Of
numbers,
course.
especially
And the future.
especially after
Yeah.
the havoc of
Yeah.
COVID. People started thinking about the proposition of what kind of jobs are my kids going to have? Are they going to be able to be independent after they finish?
Yes.
Is this investment worth it? So we are seeing actually an avalanche of applications, which is a blessing. Personally, of course, given my own background, I would love to see, that avalanche come from the Arab community, not only in Michigan, but across the nation, and internationally.
Yes.
Again, we offer great scholarships. The differential between our tuition per year and a public school tuition with our scholarship component is probably $3,000 to $4,000 a year.
Okay.
And here's what I always tell parents, right, across the board. If you make across 5 years, let's say, $20,000 more or $15,000 more investment in your child's education. And the outcome of that is that your child is going to graduate in 4 years,
times better.
ready for the jobs of the future,
Yes.
with a first job starting salary of 65, 70. I have students from some of our majors graduating with $85,000 to $90,000,
Yes.
as opposed to pursuing the other type of education, which costs you $20,000 less over a 4-year period, with a starting salary of $38,000 after a year
Yes.
of graduation.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
no-brainer. This
Absolutely.
is the right
Absolutely.
investment. And,
Yeah.
and actually, here is really what I think about this. Number one, you want your student or your graduate to be well-trained, not only in theory and practice, which is what we specialize in, but you want your student to be trained, again, in technology and an interdisciplinary, multi-field fashion. But you also want them to graduate with some experiential education, meaning
Yes.
co-ops or internships. Close to 90%, if not more, of our students do not graduate from Lawrence Tech unless they have done at least 1 or 2 internships. They ask usually presidents and provosts of U.S. universities, the metric for employment is the percentage of your students who graduate and find a job within 6 months. And people ask me that question all the time. And I usually laugh because I tell them my problem is not to find them jobs. My problem is to keep them till they graduate, because they get these job offers full time
Yes.
before they
Before
graduate. So
Yes.
the student goes and does an internship in Ford or some other amazing company, and the minute they finish the internship, they get the job offer, and they still have a year or 2 to go. That's how good that type
Absolutely.
of education is.
Okay, the student outside Michigan, okay, and anywhere
Sure.
in the nation, he come with I-20 visa.
Well, outside, yes, if they are international students,
International.
yeah.
Yeah. Would you accept their I-20 visa in Lawrence Tech?
Oh yeah, we
So it's easy for them to transfer.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we have again students from 70, 80 countries. All
Yes.
of them, of course, we issue them the acceptance if they do get admitted, and the scholarship offer if they get a scholarship.
Yes.
They take the I-20 and they go and get their visa and join us as F1 students.
Yes.
In some cases, some of them might be sponsored by their countries, for example.
There's a lot of them, I
government,
guess,
and
yeah.
that in that case maybe it would be F1 or J1.
Yes.
But of course, we have a very high we also have transfer students who go to other universities in the U.S. internationally, and after a year or 2, they would transfer to Lawrence Tech, and we supply them, of course, if they are admitted with the I-20. It's a very seamless. And our reputation overseas is stellar because of our outcomes. I mean, amazingly stellar. So,
If a new student comes from locally, from different state to here,
sure.
okay, at the start, do you offer them the home and,
Oh, you
and
mean
university?
accommodations?
Yeah.
Oh, we have residence, residences, 4 of them at least, and residence also for graduate students. We can accommodate at any given point in a semester more than 1,000 students on campus.
I see.
A huge population of our international students, if not all, when they first move in, they prefer to actually stay in one of our dorms.
Absolutely,
Whether
yeah.
it's the undergraduate dorms or the
Because
graduate
by
dorms.
himself, he cannot go
Of
and
course,
get apartment
of
and
course,
all that.
no.
Yes.
And again, it depends. Maybe after 2-3 years, and especially
Of course, that, yeah.
or if they are graduate students, after they acclimate and they stabilize within our dorms, of course they would go and rent outside. But the answer is absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
As we know, there is a lot of in different countries, their dream to come to U.S. and study. And we tried a lot of time, through our program, to get the student to come here, and we get them the I-20.
Sure.
But when they go to the counselor, 90% denied. 90% denied.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some countries we could get, for example, from Africa,
Mm-hmm.
from the Gulf state.
Mm-hmm.
For those people, are the university open to welcome them and to work with them?
So,
and, you know,
a couple of points to make. Number one, our international reputation,
Yes.
meaning within the consulates and the embassies of the U.S. everywhere in the world, is truly stellar, right? A student getting admitted into Lawrence Technological University and or getting admitted from overseas with a scholarship, at Lawrence Tech, the U.S. counselors in the embassies and the consulates
Yes.
know how elite this institution is. So we've never had an issue for Lawrence Tech
I see.
in terms of visa rejections or anything along these lines. That has never been the
So
case.
you are
really.
open to
And
to,
we are
to go
open,
those
and
students.
again, we are open, to students from everywhere in the world.
Yes.
We have students from Europe, we have students from South America, we have great students from the Middle East, we have students from, Asia and the subcontinent, we have students from Africa. And we are always looking forward to diversifying our campus. We're always looking forward to diversifying it globally and domestically.
Okay, what are you doing for that? I mean, for us, we have an immigration program, and honestly, he go Face Life beside that, and that Face Life toward the whole Arab world. And he have good social media, and he asks everybody to watch him.
Mhm.
And social media today, we have a huge social media. Of course, we have the app and the live stream,
Sure.
and we know a lot people in the, not many, but some people in the Middle East, they watch MEA.
Of course, of course.
And we could reach a lot. Myself travel a lot. We have office at the National Press Building, and
Sure.
honestly, in Washington, we are more active than here
Mhm.
because of the COVID, everything went down.
I know.
But usually we are more active than here. So what are you doing to get to those people?
So I'll tell you what we're doing and what
Yes.
we intend and hope to do. What we're doing, again, we do have recruiters. We attend fairs overseas all the time. We have actually in some countries our own representatives
Yes.
doing our own recruitment events, trying to attract great students from overseas. So we do a lot of things. But, and of course, we have obviously, our own social media and marketing and branding and PR department, which tries to utilize our own channels
Yes.
to attract students. What we're going to do is do more of this and count on outlets like yourself
Thank
and
you.
like your channel.
And we reach, yeah.
No, you have great reach, and you reach truly an eminent community, our Arab community, not only in Michigan but across the country. I know because I have the IPTV app myself and
Yes.
your app on my phone, and watch your channel on Sling,
Yeah.
like most of the community, and of course counting on you to spread the word out about how, number one, welcoming our institution is. And even more importantly, spreading the word out about the fact that our great sons and daughters coming to LTU guarantees truly a professional, eminent career in science, technology, engineering, or math, or anything we teach, with guaranteed employment at a very high level. We were the university with the highest salary upon graduation within this region.
Yes.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Our students, and you take a look at their profiles, not only after graduation, and the starting salaries and the type of jobs, it is actually stunning, truly stunning.
Yeah.
And so that's really what the plan is.
Honestly, Doctor, out of the Sling, the Arabic package, there is 140 channel. Every country,
Sure.
there's there. If you take the 140, none of them put more than 5% about the local community in the United States. Our program is 85 to 90% targeting the local community in Michigan and the nation. And we do a lot we build the relation
Sure.
between the Arab American community and the community at large. So we could do a lot.
I
We could
look,
pass
I
the
look,
word.
I look forward
Yeah.
to it. I truly look forward to it.
Yes.
I mean, the business we're in is really about building bridges. I mean, the business we're in is about creating and helping out and changing people's lives. And the business we're in also should imply that we don't only do that, but connect, our Arab community with the rest of
Absolutely.
the constituents within the state, whether
Yes.
it's industry, whether it's the government, whether it's higher education,
And,
and
with
provide
other
these.
with other ethnic minorities too.
Absolutely,
Yes.
and that is true. Absolutely,
Yeah, we share same issues. So
100%. And again, I think for a very well-developed community like the Arab community, and it is the most developed really in
Absolutely.
Michigan and this region.
Yeah.
I think these type of opportunities and the ability to peruse the education and research and industry relationships, not only for the students but also in building bridges with the community, is something we should all utilize. For example, Loras Tech is home to one of the preeminent business accelerators and incubators in the Midwest, our Centropolis Accelerator, which hosts tens of companies,
Sure.
startups or a little bit more developed than startups in manufacturing and sustainability all the time. That's an amazing value for the companies and startups of that Arab community within the state to reside and to acquire the grants that LTU helps these companies acquire to grow and to be seed funded and to acquire venture capital. So from an economic development point of view, LTU is an incredible driver for economic development. We can help businesses. We already help industry.
Yes.
We have, R&D,
They need
R&D
university
projects.
like you. Yeah.
We do R&D with tens and tens and tens of companies at any given point in time. Not only within the auto industry, within the microelectronics industry, within the computing industry, within the sustainability industry.
2 years
So
ago, Amazon,
it's a resource.
Amazon tried to come to Detroit and Michigan, but the problem they didn't come because there is not enough educating people graduate from university like yours.
Well, I mean,
Because that's what they like.
within
Yeah.
the region, I'm
Yeah.
seeing in various counties, like the 30 program in Oakland, where
Yes.
you want to reach a goal, which is really very commendable. But the bottom line is, I think it's all about the higher education being offered, right, and the training being offered, and that's why one of my hopes and aspirations to really truly increase the reach and the broader impact of my institution, right? Because at the end of the day, when you change people's lives, right, when you really provide them with that education that makes them survive and do amazing thing in economic development, you don't only change their lives, you change the lives of their families,
Absolutely.
the lives of the communities that you come from,
Sure.
and that's how you broaden the impact. I'll give you a number. I'm an engineer, right, by training originally, but for universities, as an example, right, or educational institutions, usually there's a number which is called the economic impact of a university
Of
on
university,
the region,
yes,
right?
uh-huh.
And that's measurable, right?
Yes.
It takes on tens of parameters, the economic development, the acceleration, the business starting, the tax base of the graduates, and many, many, many other factors. And usually that economic impact for the average institution in the US, it's usually like twice their annual budget. So if you have a university that has an annual budget of 100 million or
Yeah.
whatever, or 50 million, the typical economic impact when you study it for the region,
Yes.
it's about double that. LTU's economic impact
probably
is
triple or two.
4 times,
Yes,
four and a
yes,
half times
yes.
the annual budget. Because our students, number one, which is a blessing, most of them stay local because of the amazing industry surrounding us and
Yes.
the co-ops and internships. Most of them, the starting salaries are significantly higher than most universities, etc. And the economic impact of the businesses that they start and their life within the region is perpetually much larger over time and accumulates. So again, I would love the community to think of LTU as a community resource, right?
And I want to come to that after we
Sure.
talk all that, and we have the first university president as an Arab American, Egyptian American, and we are very proud of that. Give me a message to the student and to the community at large about how you become the first president, and that's honestly encourage many members of the community to look at you and come to your university, and so give me the thought. I want you to reach directly from the heart.
How much time do we have remaining?
2 minutes. 2 minutes if you could.
Well, first of all, what I'd love to say to the audience is it is truly a pleasure and an honor to be here and to be able to talk with you, although it's one way for now. And as I've always said since I came to Michigan, after 25 years with my previous employer and coming from New England, I had some worries about moving to a completely new community. What I can say is during the 1.5 years that I've been here in Michigan, I literally felt home from day one. I've been welcomed by most of, well, actually all members of the community that I've had a chance to interact with or work with. It's a blessing. It is truly a remarkable region with an amazing number of truly remarkable individuals, families, and professionals. I very much look forward to seeing this community do better and better. One lesson to take, I think, is there is no glass ceiling, really. Anyone can do whatever she or he wants to do as so long as they put their mind into it. Hard work is paramount to success. Persistence is incredibly paramount to success. And from what I've seen in this community since I've arrived in Michigan, that's two things they do not lack. Incredible hard workers, amazing persistence. And I always say, there are typically 3 pillars for success. One of them is, again, persistence and hard work. The second, of course, is being able to organize and use one's intellect appropriately to reach the goals. But the third component, I think, is to have people who believe in that person and support that person and encourage that person and push that person forward to greater length of success and so on. And I think this is the one area in which a community like our community in Michigan can really help with lifting each other, supporting each other, believing in each other. No one, no matter how incredibly successful they are in what they do, and no matter how intelligent, quote unquote, they are, and no matter how hardworking they are, can progress further in life unless there is a support mechanism and other professionals and individuals who believe in her or him and enable them to get the chances to do better. I've been blessed. I've had colleagues and amazing individuals all my life who supported me and believed in me, and of course that's the main reason of my success. And that's what we should do. We should always believe in ourselves and push each other and believe in each other and provide opportunities for each other. From my own university point of view, our university is an amazing educational institution, and I'd love to see more and more of our community attend our university at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level, professional development. I'd love more and more of our community in Michigan to partner with Lawrence Tech in economic development, in startup opportunities, in research and development, in staffing. And it would give me no more pleasure than to see many of you flock to my institution, partner with our great colleagues within Lawrence Tech. So again, I guess to sum it all up, and you all have to understand I'm a professor, I can't talk for 3 hours nonstop, so I'll try to stop myself. It's been a blessing being here. I am incredibly grateful to the Arab community within the state for their very warm welcome so far, and I look forward to seeing many of you at different venues and to welcome most of you to Lawrence Tech. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Doctor, for coming here and give us that very valuable information.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear viewer, that was my interview with Dr. Tarek Sobh. He's the president of Lawrence Tech University, and we are very, very proud of him. He's the only Arab American president of university in the nation out of 6,000 universities. And you hear from him. Lawrence Tech, with their prestige program, when you send your kid to the school, to Lawrence Tech, you are guaranteed the kids have a good future. When you send them to different school, some of them, you go to school and after 4 years, and he's at home and he cannot find a job. With Lawrence Tech University, I think after the second or the third year, all corporations come and try to hire him. And definitely when he graduates, he'll find a very, very good job with very good salaries. Salaries probably exceed 60 or 70 or 90,000. So please encourage your student to go to Lawrence Tech. For the student not in Michigan, my advice to them, I've been here for over 50 years, and I've been to every state in the nation and a lot of organizations. Honestly, I advise them to come to Michigan. You are, for example, in a state, there is a small community, and you miss the culture, you miss the food, you miss the community, you miss the social event of the community. Michigan is the hub. When you come to Michigan and you come to Lawrence Tech, which is 10 minutes from all the action for the Arab American community, you're going to feel yourself home. You're going to feel yourself home, having the culture, the food, the community to talk to. And honestly, what I understand from Dr. Sobh, Lawrence Tech, they open their arm and heart to all the students, if it's from Michigan or from the nation. And most important, a lot of us have a relative overseas, and they love to come to here. Well, encourage them to go to Lawrence Tech, you know, and Lawrence Tech are open, and they like to have this kind of students. They like to have the diversities in the nation and from the overseas. So please have Lawrence Tech always in mind, because it's the university who guarantee a good future for you. Thanks for watching, and good night.